Most people today are living without a true north. Most people are empty inside, feeling lost and directionless. They're busy, but not purposeful. They're working toward goals, but they don't know if those goals will actually fulfill them. Sound familiar? Napoleon Hill spent decades studying not just successful people, but fulfilled people. And he discovered something profound that most miss entirely. The people who lived with deep satisfaction, who made a lasting positive impact, who felt genuinely peaceful about their lives, they all had one thing in common. They had found their true purpose by putting God first. Not to get rich, not to gain status, not to impress others, but to discover why they were actually created, to find their real mission in life, to understand how they could serve something greater than themselves. Hill called this aligning with infinite intelligence, but what he really meant was learning to live in harmony with God's plan for your life. Today, I want to share with you the spiritual principle that Hill discovered was the foundation of all meaningful achievement. Not just success, but success with purpose. Success that makes a difference. Success that comes from doing good in the world, not succeeding at any cost. And if you stay until the end, I'll give you Hill's exact method for discovering your God-given purpose and living from that place of divine alignment every single day. Because when you find your true purpose through God, everything else, your relationships, your work, your contribution to the world, everything finds its rightful place.
Here's what most people don't know about Napoleon Hill. Before he ever wrote about success principles, he was a man wrestling with his own spiritual questions. Born into poverty in rural Virginia, Hill watched his mother die when he was just 10 years old. For years he struggled with doubt, with purpose, with the fundamental question, why am I here? It wasn't until he began interviewing the titans of industry that he discovered something remarkable. Every single one of them had moved beyond operating from their limited human perspective alone. Andrew Carnegie didn't just see steel, he saw infinite possibility. Henry Ford didn't just see cars, he saw transformation. Thomas Edison didn't just see inventions, he saw solutions to humanity's problems. And when Hill pressed them on where these visions came from, they all pointed to the same source, in intelligence beyond their own. Hill was not a preacher, he was a meticulous researcher of success patterns. But his decades of study led him to one undeniable, scientifically observable conclusion. Human intellect alone is not enough to create lasting success. In Think and Grow Rich, he wrote about a mysterious force that guides the thoughts of men and women when they are genuinely open to it, a force he called infinite intelligence. But make no mistake, Hill knew exactly what he was talking about. He was describing God. Hill taught that success is not just about what you do, but who you align yourself with. And the highest alignment, the alignment that makes all other alignments possible, is with the Creator Himself. This is why every Napoleon Hill principle has a spiritual foundation, even when he used business language to describe it.
Now, here's where most people get it completely backwards, and this is why so many driven, talented people still feel empty inside. Most people live in reverse spiritual order. They put their goals first, their deadlines first, their desires first, their plans first, and then, almost as an afterthought, they ask God to bless what they've already decided to do. Hill warned against this with everything in him. He called it the great deception of the ego. He explained that when we try to bend the will of infinite intelligence to match our limited plans, we actually cut ourselves off from the very source of unlimited possibility. Think about this logically. If your perspective is limited to what you can see with your physical eyes, you will always operate below your true potential. You're working with incomplete information. But when you put God first, when you genuinely seek His will before your own, you're tapping into a vision that sees far beyond what any human mind could imagine. And as a natural result of this alignment, the success you achieve feels meaningful and sustainable because it's built on a foundation of divine wisdom. This is why so many people work themselves to exhaustion, chasing what they think will make them happy, only to feel empty when they finally get there. Their spiritual alignment was wrong from the very start, so even their achievements feel hollow. Hill studied this pattern in thousands of people. He found that temporary achievements could be gained through willpower and strategy alone, but lasting success, success that brings deep satisfaction and creates positive impact, this type of success flows naturally from divine alignment. It's not forced. It's received as a gift from walking in God's purpose. Here's a profound quote from Hill's personal notebooks. "I have learned that infinite intelligence will not compete with human ego for control of a person's life. It waits to be invited, and it must be invited first."
Hill discovered that infinite intelligence responds to what he called harmony. Harmony means your thoughts, actions, and desires are flowing in the same direction as the divine order of things. And putting God first creates harmony in 3 specific ways. Pillar number 1, purpose becomes crystal clear. When you put God first, you stop asking, "What do I want?" and start asking, "What was I created to do? How can I serve? What positive impact am I meant to make?" This is not a small shift. This is everything. Hill noticed that people who aligned with divine purpose had an almost supernatural clarity about their direction. They didn't waste time second-guessing themselves or chasing every opportunity that came along. More importantly, they naturally gravitated toward work that helped others and made the world better. Andrew Carnegie told Hill, "When I understood that my wealth was not mine, but was entrusted to me to lift others up, every business decision became an act of service rather than selfishness." Hill discovered that when you seek God's purpose for your life, you automatically begin operating from a place of contribution rather than competition. Your energy becomes positive and attractive because you're aligned with the force of creation itself. And here's what Hill observed. People operating from this divine alignment consistently attracted better opportunities, stronger relationships, and more fulfilling work. Not because they were trying to get these things, but because they were focused on serving God's plan. Pillar number 2, decision-making becomes values-driven. When God is first in your priorities, you no longer have to compromise your integrity to succeed. You have a clear moral compass. Does this decision honor God? Does it help people? Does it create value in the world? Hill called this the divine filter. He wrote, "The person who seeks divine guidance naturally chooses the path that serves the greater good. And this alignment opens doors that manipulation and self-interest could never open." Thomas Edison shared with Hill that his greatest inventions came not from asking, "What can I create to get rich?" but "What problems can I solve to help humanity?" This shift in motivation, he said, made his work feel effortless and his results far more powerful. Pillar number 3, success comes through service, not selfishness. This might be the most transformational principle of all. When God is genuinely first in your life, your definition of success completely changes. You stop trying to get ahead at others' expense. You stop seeing life as a zero-sum game.
Instead, you look for ways to succeed by helping others succeed. Hill wrote extensively about this principle. He observed that people who truly trusted infinite intelligence had a remarkable approach to business and relationships. They were always looking for win-win solutions, always thinking about how their success could benefit others. The result? Their success felt sustainable and satisfying because it was built on a foundation of love and service rather than fear and competition. Hill documented that these individuals consistently experienced what he called effortless achievement, not because they didn't work hard, but because they were working in harmony with divine flow rather than against it. Their success came as a natural consequence of their spiritual alignment, not as something they had to force or manipulate.
Now, Napoleon Hill didn't just teach about divine alignment, he lived it every single day. Let me share with you the exact spiritual practices that Hill used personally, practices that he kept private during his lifetime, but that we can now learn from his personal journals and letters. Hill's morning sacred hour. Every morning, without exception, Hill spent 1 full hour in what he called sacred communion with infinite intelligence. This wasn't just prayer, though prayer was part of it. This was a disciplined, structured time of reviewing his definite chief aim, surrendering his plans to divine wisdom, asking specific questions and listening for answers, visualizing his goals as already accomplished through divine power. Hill wrote, "This hour is not negotiable. It is the most important appointment of my day, an appointment with God Himself." The question method. Hill would write down specific questions he needed answers to, business decisions, personal challenges, creative problems, even relationship issues. Then he would sit in complete stillness, holding these questions in his mind, while remaining completely open to whatever answers might come. Hill discovered that answers came in many forms: sudden insights during the day, unexpected opportunities, conversations with others, even books or articles that would appear at exactly the right time. Hill documented hundreds of examples of receiving precise guidance through this method. The evening accountability review. Before bed, Hill would review his entire day with brutal honesty. Where did I follow divine guidance today? Where did I resist or ignore that guidance? What am I trying to control that I need to surrender? How can I align more closely with God's will tomorrow? Then he would surrender the outcomes of his day, both successes and failures, completely to God. The Gratitude Foundation. Hill began and ended every day by listing specific things he was grateful for, but with a twist. He focused particularly on challenges and difficulties, trusting that these too were part of divine guidance. Hill wrote, "When I can genuinely thank God for my problems, I know I am in harmony with infinite intelligence."
Now, you might be thinking, this sounds great, but I don't have hours every day for spiritual practices. Hill anticipated this. Later in his life, he developed what he called the minimum effective dose for maintaining divine alignment, even in the busiest schedule. Here's the exact system. Morning priority declaration, 3 minutes. Before you check your phone, before you start your day, make this declaration. God, I surrender this day to you. Show me what you want me to focus on, guide my decisions, use me for your purposes. Then spend 30 seconds in silence, just listening. Midday realignment pause, 2 minutes. Set an alarm for the middle of your day. When it goes off, stop whatever you're doing and ask, am I still aligned with divine purpose right now?
What do I need to surrender or adjust? Evening Gratitude Surrender. 5 minutes. Before bed, reflect on your day. Thank God for 3 specific things that happened. Acknowledge where you followed divine guidance. Surrender any worries or outcomes you're trying to control. Ask for wisdom for tomorrow. Hill's most famous teaching was, when you are consistently guided by infinite intelligence, you cannot ultimately fail. You may be redirected, refined, or delayed, but you cannot fail.
Let me leave you with this truth that Napoleon Hill discovered after decades of research. Putting God first is not about using faith as a tool to get what you want. It's about discovering what God wants for your life and finding deep fulfillment in that purpose. Most people are lost because they're trying to create meaning from their own limited perspective. They're chasing goals that someone else told them were important, or that society says will make them happy. But Hill's greatest discovery was this: true fulfillment comes when you align your life with your Creator's purpose for you. When you do this, success becomes a byproduct of service, not the goal itself. And here's what's beautiful about this approach. When you succeed by doing good, by helping others, by contributing positively to the world, that success feels completely different. It energizes you instead of draining you. It connects you to others instead of isolating you. It builds something lasting instead of something temporary. When you genuinely put God first, not to get rich, but to find your true purpose, your entire life begins to make sense in ways you never expected. You wake up with direction instead of confusion. You make decisions from clarity instead of anxiety. You build relationships based on love instead of competition. You pursue goals that matter instead of goals that merely impress. And you sleep peacefully, knowing that your life is contributing to something greater than yourself. So here's my challenge for you. For the next 30 days, commit to seeking God's purpose for your life, using the practices I've shared today. Don't ask Him to bless your plans. Ask Him to reveal His plans for you. Don't ask Him to help you succeed. Ask Him to show you how to serve. Don't ask Him to give you what you want. Ask Him to help you want what He wants for you. Because when God's purpose becomes your purpose, everything else, your relationships, your work, your contribution to the world, your sense of meaning, everything finds its proper place. Napoleon Hill spent his entire life studying achievement, but his final conclusion was beautifully simple. The greatest life is not what we achieve for ourselves, but what God achieves through us when we align our will with His. That's the secret to a life of true meaning. That's the foundation of lasting fulfillment. That's the alignment that transforms not just what you do, but who you are.
If this message resonated with something deep in your spirit, I want you to do 3 things right now. First, hit that like button, not just because it helps the channel, but as your personal commitment to putting God first in your success journey. Second, subscribe and ring the bell, because I'm committed to sharing the spiritual foundations that Napoleon Hill discovered, the foundations that most success channels completely ignore. And third, share this video with someone who's been grinding hard but still feels like something's missing. They need to hear this message. In the comments below, I want you to write just 3 words: God first, always. Let's create a community of people who understand that true success flows from divine alignment. Your next breakthrough is waiting on the other side of surrender. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.